Okay, so this is the beginning of part 2 in the series of the GMC conversion. And this morning I pulled the drive shaft. I actually cut off the exhaust back there so I could handle the back half easier. I removed the catalytic converter from the right bank, so since it unbolted, and then I pulled the slip sleeve off of the left bank. Got those out of the way. I separated the wiring harness from the top of the frame, or the side of the frame where it was at, the brake line and the fuel lines, and I'm working on getting some bracing. I've got to come up with some more jack stands to support the load, because the transmission, the cross member comes up from the bottom. You can see right there. And so when I pull those bolts, it's going to want to drop down. So I'm going to put some jack stands underneath that, and probably lower it an inch or two so I have some room, and let it just go for the ride. And of course the torsion bar cross member has the rivets in it. I don't have to cut those off or grind those out. Now the plan also is, I was going to cut these perches off, but I'm going to do that later. I've already checked both sides, and that's going to be my measuring point. So if I hook into that one and I draw back, I'm at 41 5/16. So I'll just subtract 23 inches from that, and when these come together, that'll give me my measurement and give me square side to side, which I know it'll be close regardless. So that's the plan at this point, is to get some more bracing underneath it, and then I've got to figure out how I'm going to walk the back half of the frame forward, because my driveway is tapered right here, and so that'll be a little bit of a challenge, but I'll figure that out. And other than that, I'll just keep progressing along and show you how it works out for me. Alright, so I've moved a little further along in this process. I've unbolted the transmission cross member, and it's sitting on the jack stands like I said. I drilled the holes where the rivets were, or I should say drilled the rivets that held the cross member for the torsion bar, and I've already prepped the new holes. I just measured off 23 inches, came up off the frame, the same dimensions, and that shouldn't be an issue to get those in place. Now also I'm gonna for the cross member, I'll figure out where they're going to end up, and I'll pre-drill those holes as well, because it'd be more challenging to drill them with that in place than it would be to have it in open space. Other than that, I'm going to have to separate the fuel line so that the line can go up over the tank, and the brake line I may just bow it for now so it gets out of the way. But yeah, I'm making some good progress, and I've got my lines marked. Here's the 23 inches that I'm going to cut on, and really I'm not so worried about this being a zero measurement, let's say, because I'm really overlapping, so it doesn't really matter as long as I have about 6 inches there, because my real measurement is going to come off of these mounts, and I'll just pull it together until I get or eliminate that 23 inches. So yeah, making progress. Well, I'm getting closer. I made the cut at 23 with my Sawzall, and I cheated a little bit because I couldn't get in behind with my cutter, my Ziz wheel. So I used my plasma cutter and just took a little bit off that edge, and that made it a little bit easier. So now, ta-da! I'll clean that up a little bit. Do the same to the other side. I've already cut it with the Sawzall. I've also drilled the holes for the tranny cross member, so all that's ready to go, and I've separated all the front section up there. That was a little bit harder than I had hoped it would have been, mainly because the weld was so deep, and I had a hard time cutting into it and separating it. But yeah, hopefully I can get these two joined back together. I don't know if I'll do it tonight yet or if it'll be tomorrow, but I'm liking it. That's it for today. I'd hope to have it welded, but I'm pretty happy to have it pieced back together. I've already done my measuring from there to there. It's 18 and 5/16, so that puts me on the money. I used my tie-down straps from the car trailer to pull it together. So tomorrow, next step, I'm going to buzz all that back together. Probably use my flux core welder to get a nice deep burn, and then I'll start trimming off stuff like these cab mounts that I will not need, and dealing with stuff like shortening this line, reattaching the brake module, and attaching the torsion bar. You see the holes line up. I just have to lift it up, get it in place, and then of course get the holes, get the bracket bolted on for the tranny cross member, and I'll be moving right along. And the next phase after that, I think, is starting to figure out where the cab's going to sit. So yeehaw, I'm liking it.